Hello again, Proc. Today I'm bringing you another build video for the Forged class in Torchlight 3's early access phase, and this one is kind of a spin-to-win build with the Electrode. I decided to call it the Shocknado Vortex because, well, we're spinning like a tornado, we're shocking everywhere, and we're using Vortex Bomb. So this is kind of like a version of the Vortex Bomber build I used to play in the alpha, but never made as a build video. Right now I couldn't experiment much with spamming Vortex Bomb because I couldn't get as many drops with Vortex Bomb skill cooldown reduction as one could do back in the alpha, but it's definitely a fun spin to win build. I definitely suggest testing it out, and once they rework the relics, the Electrode version would still be viable, maybe even better. And there's gonna be also two more versions of the build I would wanna experiment with the Ice Coldheart freezing spin to win setup, and with the more defensive and healing setup that would use the Blood Drinker. That would be once they rework those skills. So there would be three different ways how you can branch out this build eventually once the build gets reworked. I will be making a 2.0 for this, but the main ingredients in the recipe here would be to get maxed out spin to win Cyclone Mode, to get ramming robot for mobility, and to get Vortex Bomb maxed out. After that you want the procs, the lightning strike procs from the relic, from the Electrode, to be proccing those thunder strikes for extra weapon damage. And basically when you activate, when you do the relic activation, and that's gonna be melting bosses. So I'm thinking this mechanic would change slightly. I mean, not slightly, it would change a lot, but there would still be some sort of a bursty skill on every relic, similar to how we activate right now. So let's show you first the skills and then some more info, eventually top it off with gameplay. So next is the skills segment. So the skills for this build, I think one can get all the skill points they need around level 53. Even if they don't have items like the Mountain King's helmet and cuirass, they could get 53 levels to fill in all the necessary skeleton skills, as I like to call it. So you would need 10 points into Cyclone Mode, 10 points into Vortex Bomb, 6 points into Ramming Robot, 6 points into Rapid Strike. Power Projection I suggest at least 3 points into, then 6 points into Cold Launch, and if people are wondering why, this 25% damage to burning enemies tier 2 bonus applies to any type of damage. So as long as the enemies are burning, if you're hitting them with Cyclone, if you're hitting them with the Relic Active or Activation skill, if you're hitting them with Ramming Robot or with Vent Vortex Bomb, you would be doing that 25% extra damage. And since you get another 25%, another 6 levels in Furnace Blast is also nice. So you can stack up to 50% damage to burning enemies. Then Sonic Pulse, 6 points I suggest if you're gonna be using a Relic Active Skill. Otherwise probably just the first tier would be fine if you need more points for other things. I'm not a big fan of Sonic Pulse now activates around you as well, because we still can't stack up to 2 stacks of Sonic Pulse. So yeah, most of the time we can just aim the cursor around us and it can still activate around us. So I mean, that seems a little bit of an overkill to invest that high. So what do we do with the remaining points? With the remaining points, if you are missing this item, the Mountain King's Gauntlets, more about items in the gear segment later, you can get extra crit chance for your brawl skills, which would be Cyclone, Ramming Robot and Vortex Bomb. You can get 10% crit chance by investing into tier 2 servo driven uppercut. If you want more damage for a Relic Active Skill, you can get Fracking Strike. And then you can stack that 20% damage with that 20% damage, which only the Forged can do. Other things that you can get, probably Heat Dissipation. Heat Dissipation I would suggest only and only if you want to be doing more Cyclone, less Vortex. Meaning if you find yourself hanging, waiting for Vortex's cooldown to be ready, then invest into a little bit more Heat Dissipation. so that you can afford doing some more Cyclone before you fill up your heat. And yeah, I think it's gonna be nice. But if you wanna be vortexing more often, get cooldown for vortex and then avoid the heat dissipation, because you might be building up heat a little bit too slow in that way. Apart from that, there isn't anything else I could suggest getting. You don't need crit chance for barrage, you don't need damage for barrage, you don't need pet damage, and you probably could use this one being tier 2 as well. As I mentioned, you've got some more points. You've got 7 points, and that is 7 points if you are not using the helmet and chest piece. If you're using those, that gives you another 6 points from this Q3 and another 10 points from this Q3 that you can spend, meaning you could if you want max out ramming robot, or if you want you can max out power projection or even sonic pulse if you feel like it with those points. So right now I can remove 2 points from this. That's 10 points I can use, and then I can remove 2 points from each of those, or just from those two, and that's gonna be 6 or 4 more points. Together with those 7, I can really just max out Sonic Pulse if I want to max out to tier 2, actually not max out Servo Driven, and get tier 2 Fracking Strike if I want to as well as power projection to the end. I mean, I can experiment a lot if I've got the chest and helmet. On the private test server, I've got a level 60 hero, but he doesn't have anywhere near as much legendary items. That's why I decided to record footage of myself playing this one instead of the other one. I hope everything is clear regarding the skills. So let's move to the pet skills, and after that the relic. And here we are at the segment where we talk about pet skills. I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna tell you which my favorites are, which are Aura Deadlier Strikes, Healing Friendship, Screeching Stun I love for most builds, and the damage buff, the Battle Cry. You can only use one aura, so if you don't have Deadlier Strike, select one of the other ones which you've got. Moving Partner is great for spin-to-win builds. The block chance also wouldn't hurt you if you don't have a shield equipped, and a little bit more block chance from armors, so you can get that 40%. Keep in mind we're gonna have stats like evasion very soon, so you might want to be combining 40% block chance with 40% evasion to get only 36% chance to get hit total. You can experiment with other things like immobilize and maybe defensive posture, up to you really, but yeah, that's just my suggestion, my favorite combo right now of the few skills we've got. Next, let's talk about the relic skill I've chosen. The relic I have chosen for this build is the Electrode. I've kind of spent the skill points in a weird way, so I wouldn't actually suggest doing what I've done. I wouldn't suggest going for 10 points into Brutal Intent. Why that would be? I think that's too much crit chance. This build has a lot of crit chance from the Mountain King gauntlets anyways, so maybe only 5 points here, and then that would leave you with 6 points into this one once this is 10 points. So that would be 10 points here, 10 points here, 10 points here, 10 points here, 5 here, and 6, actually that would be 5 here. I think, yeah, 5 here, that would be it. So my suggested level way of leveling up this would be, don't put points into Walkaway Storm immediately. I think it would be much more important to focus on Lightning Strike first, so save your first 10 levels to get level 10, then put 9 points here, 1 point here. Then at level 11 max this one to level 10, and then maybe start putting points into cooldown here, or maybe just get 5 points for the crit chance before the cooldown. Then once you've gotten the cooldown here, get the damage here and start getting this damage. If you don't want to get Walkaway Storm at all, if you don't want to use it in your build, keep in mind relics are changing in such a huge way that anything I'm telling you now in 2-3 weeks would be outdated, and I would be reworking this build. In fact, I've got 3 versions planned for a spin to win build. One with the Electrode, one with the Coldheart and one with the Blood Drinker. Those would be my preferred choices of relic when making spin2win, so I would be eventually making 2.0 versions of this with the Electrode and alternative versions with other relics once they get reworked. But for now, yeah, if you don't want to be using Wokowai Storm, just remove those points and just 20 points here, 20 points here and 10 points here would be fine. Pretty fine. I think that's it for the relics. I'm not gonna include much regarding how to level up other relics, but maybe in my text guide I could include some tips of how you could play this in a similar way with other relics, but it's not gonna be exactly the same, so I really don't suggest right now playing it with other relics unless you want other types of sources of damage. The main source of damage would be Whitening Strike, believe me, that's gonna be the major source of damage right now for you. So if you switch to Blood Drinker, you're losing that source of damage, you're gonna have to focus more on the Relic Active Skill, because with the Spinning Blade and 40% extra damage from here and here, you can get 630% weapon damage from Spinning Blade, but that's a different way of playing the build. So yeah, that's it for the relic. Let's show you some info about the gear and then more gameplay afterwards. And here we are at the segment where I talk about gear. What gear I would suggest, what stats I would suggest wearing, and all the other jazz in between. First of all, very important item. You want this cannon, Unstable War Arm. It really doesn't matter whether it's a WoW level or not, because you're not gonna benefit from the damage of this item. Meaning, you can either wear it or equip it in the Legendarium. It doesn't matter much what you do with it as long as you have it. My suggestion would be wear it. Wear it and get more room in the Legendarium for other things. And try to get something with Relic cooldown. Relic cooldown would be nice. I don't think chance to bleed, chance to burn, chance to shock, chance to poison, etc. would be that great for you, because that would only apply on cannon stuff. And you only have Sonic Pulse, and I'm not sure whether Sonic Pulse can even trigger things like this, even with the stun. I honestly haven't done enough testing to confirm whether this stun can trigger bleed, burn, shock, etc. But if it can, then burn and shock are what you want. Then you would want a two-hander or a one-hand and off-hand. That gives you chance to burn and chance to shock. Ideally some crit chance, crit damage would be nice. Chance to knock back I really don't like, but it's what I've got on mine, so I don't have a better one with chance to burn and shock. Why burn and shock? Well, if you remember, if you've listened to the skill segment, we do 50% extra damage to burning enemies, meaning we want to be burning them as often as we can, so we can proc this as often as we can, and we want to be shocking even when our relic's not active, so we can proc Whitening Strike. When we proc Whitening Strike, we have a chance to do that extra damage and stun enemies, and that is great by itself. Now, apart from this, what other items would you want, or what other stats would you want? Of course you would want some sockets for extra flat damage, or here you would want the burn and shock if you're whacking it in other places. What else? As I said, crit damage is not bad, but this crit damage here would only apply to the cannon, so it's not gonna give you that much of a damage bonus. I think only things like Relic cooldown work on the cannon. I mean, on a cannon you can get for basic attack builds basic attack damage from cannon, which would still improve the basic attack, but we're not a basic attack build, at least not the way I played, so that doesn't matter right now. So yeah, you can use a two-hander if you can get a two-hander with chance to burn or chance to shock, and then you can get the other ailment to proc from an enchantment. That's fine, but then you're losing the enchantment for damage. But again, it's not so bad. Even if you use a one-hander, the damage will not drop that severely, so you would still feel fine with it. Next, what other type of legendary items can I suggest? It's entirely optional, but you can get Mountain King's Helmet and Cuirass. But I think a must-have item for this build would be Mountain King's gauntlets. Mountain King's gauntlets, that's when you get the 3-piece set bonus, 20% crit chance. 20% crit chance for 10 seconds, that's an overpowered buff, because you can just keep it up at all time as long as you're fighting and venting, and you will be venting with this build. What else I would suggest? Mountain King's Hatch. This is 100% chance to trigger Sonic Pulse when you use your Relic Active Skill, if you have the set bonus. If you don't have the set bonus, or if it's equipped in the Legendarium, which also doesn't allow you to benefit from the set bonus, it's gonna be only 50% chance, which is still nice. If you're using this, you might as well remove Sonic Pulse and put something else in the skill bar if you feel like it. You can, if you think you want something else, you can put it there, and we will be putting something there once they change the relics. I would be putting another relic skill. Keep in mind, in the current build on the test server, this button here, E, is added down there as another respectable, switchable hotbar slot, and we're gonna have, I think, another one hotbar slot. I think we would have a total of 7 or 8 hotbar slots. Right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and with this one 7. I think we're gonna have 8, maybe even 9. It depends. And yeah, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be fine. There's gonna be a lot of nice builds from what I know about the relics that one can make. So believe me, you would find a replacement for Sonic Pulse on the skill bar, and just use it to proc off of using active skills, which would be changed. I think they would rename the Relic Active Skills to Relic X, Relic Y, and Relic Z skill, and certain things would proc of X, certain things would proc of Y, and probably Z wouldn't proc anything, or maybe Z would proc what X or Y procs. We'll see. We'll see how they would rework things like Egg of Mayhem and the Hatch. But there, Michael is reworking those skills right now, so they're hard at work preparing everything for the Relic update. Another thing you can consider only, and keep in mind, very important, only use Mountain King's Tentacle if you have a very good cooldown on Vortex Bomb. Meaning you need items with Vortex Bomb cooldown, and those are very hard to come by. Very hard to come by. I'm gonna try and show you one, but I probably won't be able to. I might have thrown it out or put it into a storage somewhere. But I did have some Vortex Bomb cooldown items, but they're so hard to get. I'm kind of unhappy of how rare it is to get Vortex Bomb cooldowns, and you can only get that on blue items, not on legendary right now. So it's pretty disappointing, but keep in mind, if you do get some Vortex Bomb cooldown items, definitely save them, even if they're low level. You might want to experiment with those before the wipe, so you can know after the wipe whether it's gonna be worth using those. Yeah, I don't have them right now, but keep in mind that's a very good stat. Let's talk about stats. Evasion would be something that's coming, cap at 40. You might want to be mixing in more evasion than defense in your items. Bok chance is definitely a good stat for us. There's gonna be other things that are good for us, such as of course defense and HP, and of course flat damage, percent damage to element that matches our major damage, crit chance, good stats. Let me quickly open up the list and give you some more good stats, but basically you would want things like damage to bro skills. Damage to bro skills is good, damage to Cyclone Mode, and damage to Vortex Bomb is good. Cooldown to Vortex Bomb is also good, as I've mentioned before. Chance to burn, chance to shock, must have stats. Definitely get those. Relic skill cooldown, amazing stat, so we can be using our relic activation often. Gear work, try to not overdo it. I don't think you need more than 50-75% when you're doing map works. When you're doing the Fazir Shah's dungeon, some maps give you 50% gear work, but not all, so you might want to push that to like 80%, and that's not gonna be too bad. Crit damage is capped at 300, so keep that in mind. You can get more than 300 crit damage, 300% this is. And chance to stun slow bind is not bad, but it's not as amazing as on a Realm Master, for example. So yeah, I'm gonna be including more of that in my text version of the build, so you can read more there. So hopefully this kind of helped you in regards to the gear. Let's move on to showing you a little bit about the pet. On the pet you might want to be using the Dryad's necklace, which makes the pet heal you as they're attacking, and you might want to use the thing that makes the pet return to the town quicker when selling, if you want to be farming more, which is the token of rapid bartering, I think. And then you might want to be using something that makes your pet have a lot of attack speed, anything that gives you a lot of attack speed on the pet. For the shoulders, I think arc powered shoulders is a great choice, either wearing it or putting it into the legendarium. Skittering hatch is not bad. It's good to proc certain stuff. Let me quickly show you for the legendarium some more stuff that you might wanna use. So let's go for the class specific stuff. So Skittering hatch is not bad. As I said, it's nice because you're up close and personal and it works well. Arc powered is not bad, and then there should be the arc powered hatch, which also isn't bad. So Raging Beater is not bad, but if you're using Raging Beater, you're gonna be using up your heat. So keep that in mind. If you use the Raging Beater, sometimes you might find yourself out of heat and not being able to cast your Vortex Bomb. The Bird's Eye would be something I would strongly suggest using though. If you find yourself using arc powered shoulders, unlike me, I'm currently using the Mountain King shoulders because I don't have good arc powered shoulders to wear, but I would prefer to use them. To use the arc powered equipped and to put a Bird's Eye over there. Egg of Mayhem is good as well. And as I said, Skittering hatch is not bad, and so is the arc powered hatch as well, a pretty decent one. So Woods Beast Lex is also pretty nice to be igniting the enemies. I'm not sure whether this causes as burn, but I think it causes it counts as burn. So with this one, when you use the relic skill, the relic active skill, you can be igniting enemies nearby, which is pretty good synergy for us. And yeah, arc powered, as I said, hatch can zap. It doesn't count as shock, I think, but it still is lightning damage, so not something worth taking out of the equation if you can afford using it. So I think that's it. I mean, that's a lot of choices, a lot of things you can test and try. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. Now let's show you some more gameplay. Here we are at the segment where I show you some more gameplay. I decided to add a little bit more, because I know there's a lot of fans of the spin2win like me, so I've decided to include a little bit more footage than I normally include at this segment. If you don't want to see all of it, just feel free to skip and fast forward to the end. It's up to you, or just end the video now. But yeah, you can see there's not much to talk about how you rotate the skills and how you play it. Basically, as long as you're spinning and hitting the enemies within melee range, you're getting 70% damage reduction from Fighting Spirit. That is 50% built in, that the game doesn't really make clear to the players, and they might not know about this unless they read patch notes and stuff like that, or just pay attention to their buff bar. And then there's 20% you get by leveling up Vortex Bomb to tier 2. Which is at level 6 at 6 points invested into the skill. Once you have this, you're at 70, and the limit is 90% damage reduction. You can reach that limit currently only when wearing Skittering shoulders equipped or in the legendarium. So you have to kind of get those. I would suggest if you can get them in the legendarium, chuck them there. There would be a nice synergy to give you that that field, that AoE field on the ground for extra damage reduction. There would be more damage reduction one can get once they rework the Blood Drinker relic. It would be the more defensive healing relic, and it would go very well with this. But if you wanna still keep playing with the Electrode, you're gonna have some good stuff in there as well once it gets reworked. But something that I'm super excited about is how they would be reworking the Ice relic. I can't say more about it until they've given us the green light and shown us the final product, the final reworked relics, but there's gonna be a very nice synergy there for a spin-to-win build, where you would be freezing and damaging nearby enemies. So keep that in mind as a potential rework of that build. Overall, you're just spinning, building up heat, then boom, Vortex Bomb. Spinning, building up heat, then boom, Vortex Bomb. And make sure before you start spinning, if you're using Sonic Pulse on your skill bar, use it before that. Or if you're using the Mountain King's Hatch equipped or in the Legendarium, you can use your Relic Active Skill to proc Sonic Pulse with 100 or 50% chance based if you have the set or not. And that strikes the enemies one time every second for 6 seconds for a very nice amount of damage. If you wanna get notified for more content about this game or others like it, or various different types of RPGs, say RPGs, tactical RPGs, all sorts of RPGs, or other types of wooters, you could subscribe to my channel, get that bell button clicked to not miss those notifications. Thanks again for watching the video, folks. Keep it cool, and until next time, goodbye.